can see the future with my mask off. Big Hangtime, I'm a blast off.
Today we welcome Omillio to the podcast. How you doing, Omillio?
Man, I'm great. Life is great. Everything is great. I'm always good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Love to see that. I'm your host, Schwallie. Got Drew in the building as well. How you doing, bro?
Hey guys, I'm doing fantastic. Good to have you here, Emilio.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hangtime headlines, as always, like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Spotify, check out the Apple Podcast, rate and review. Let's get right into it. Omillio is a top defensive back prospect in the class of 2024 from Philadelphia. He's listed at 5'11", 160, with offers from some big-time programs such as LSU, Umiami, Clemson, Ohio State, Penn State, and the University of Southern California. It's clear you're a highly touted prospect. We've seen many websites listing you as the best defensive back in the class of 2024. So take us back to the beginning. What or who gave you your introduction to football?
Man, I was a basketball player. I didn't really, it started at 5 years old. That's when I started playing basketball. And my dad was like, yo, you're an athlete, yo. You have to try out for football. And then we went to this team called E9 Eagles in Philadelphia. And my first day, I was 5 years old. My first day of training camp, man, I cried. And I didn't like it. And I left early. And I was like, Dad, I want to do this and everything. And then he was like, all right, I'm going to let you chill for right now. You don't have to play football right now. But he was kind of mad because he knew, I had the talent. So 6 years old, next year, he's like, no, you're too good to be wasting your talent. Your God-given talent. That's a sin. So, man, I just went to play football at 6 years old, Island Eagles, and I never looked back.
Bro, I swear to God, I have the exact same story with hockey. My dad was a hockey player in high school, and he loved hockey. And at 5 years old, he brought me to a practice to learn to skate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I took one step out on the ice, and all the instructors were these pretty blonde girls. and I looked at my dad, I was like, Dad, I want to go home. and he just let me go home. And then he never pushed me back into it. And I always regretted, never getting into hockey. So it's sick that that he pushed you back into it.
And clearly your dad was a big influence on you getting into football. Can you talk a little bit more about him? Did he play football growing up? Where did that really come from?
It's crazy to think that he would, but my dad is actually a basketball player. He's from New York. So, and in his age and day, they didn't really have basketball in New York. It was just a straight football. They didn't have football. It was a straight basketball state. So he grew up playing basketball. He didn't go to college or anything for basketball. He just came to Temple University in Philadelphia to just come to college. He wasn't really a top recruit like that. He just always wanted me to play sports and be better than him. And he is the brains of everything. My recruiting process, my visits, everything. These interviews, he knows all about this. He's the brains behind everything. He's the one who put me out there to get to where I'm at right now. And we're not stopping. So I love my dad, and I thank him. Drew and Schwallie. Appreciate him.
And so he was a basketball player. So he clearly knew a lot about basketball. But then he was pushing for you to be a football player as well. And you're saying you loved basketball first. Yeah, when did you switch up? When did you really fall in love with football?
Man, it just came when I was 6 years old playing for Island Eagles. When I first started, after 5 years old quitting, it just hit me. My first time ever putting pads on, I had a regular shirt on over my pads. The pads were smaller. I didn't even have the jersey or anything. I had the 1960 helmet, and it was just bad. But first time I touched the ball, I scored. And then my dad was like, "Yeah, you're not quitting this time." And I was like, "I'm not quitting, Dad. I like it."
And can you walk us through that play? You still remember it, scoring on the first time you ever touched the ball?
I forget the play, but I got the ball. I didn't know how to get a handoff, so I grabbed the ball, took it from my quarterback. I was an outside runner. I didn't run between the tackles. I was little out there, so I was a fast guy. Took the ball, ran outside the tackle. We used to call it the 8-hole back in the day. And, man, took it down the sideline, just scored, used my speed.
And your first touchdown was as a running back. So Did you start out on offense, or when did you switch over to defensive back, playing cornerback?
That's crazy too, because in Philadelphia we aren't really passers like that. Passing football started coming out in Little League like around this time or like a couple years ago. So when I was younger, everybody was a running back. I played running back my whole life up until, I would say, going into 7th grade. My dad's friend, Coach Kita, who's my trainer now up here. He just was like, you're going to him to get DB because, going near to high school, you got to be a certain type of body to play running back. And I was a skinny, fast kid. So my dad was like, no, you're going to play DB. Right there, that's when it switched. I started going to Coach Kita every day and played DB ever since. And DB is like what I will only want to play. I don't want to play offense. I hate offense now. I love tearing them up. That's really all. I'm just a DB, man. And it's just crazy to think I was a running back and just switched to DB a couple years ago, 3-4 years ago. So,
dude, I think you made the right move.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, that transition, it definitely helped you out. You've been taking hits, and now you get to see the other side of that, light some people up. You mentioned a coach there, Coach Kita, I believe. Can you talk about any coaches that really influenced you growing up, or maybe any friends that you still got from playing football back in the day?
Man, all my friends that I played football back in the day are still my guys, and I still love them and everything. We just still keep in touch. But Coach Kita, man, he's a great influence. I came the first DB training. I didn't know anything. I was just a twitchy little kid who could move, and I was just doing the drills all fast and raw. And he just instilled technique into me. Like, he's the reason why my technique is so good nowadays. He was a great and big influence. He played at Temple D1. I remember he caught a pick in the end zone. I watched his highlight and then did a backflip. So, like, ever since watching that, I was like, oh, yeah, he's the guy. He's going to get me right. And now, my trainer from Georgia, Oliver Davis, I am OD3 on Instagram. He's a big influence because he's just a dog, man. And he makes the game look easy. And he just shows me the game in a different perspective than, like, any of his other trainers. He's probably the best doing it right now. And I appreciate him for getting me right to this day.
And we were watching your highlights, and I mean, you're 5'11", 160. We've interviewed a couple kids who have been, big kids, and you see some big kids. So I feel like your speed, am I correct in assuming that that's a big role in your game?
Yeah, it definitely is. I still believe I have to get faster because these cats, man, nowadays are different. But I'll say my ability to move and maneuver and my twitchiness, like, twitchy is the word I like to say a lot. I'm just twitchy and I'm explosive. That's really the main part of my game. Because, I'm 160. I'm gaining weight now. I'm probably at 165 now. But besides the point, I'm probably one of the smallest on the field. I'm not that tall, 5'10", 5'11" in that area. So I have to use my tools and I have technique. So that's what really sets me apart in my IQ. Like, I know pretty much, I'll say, more than anybody I'm going to ever play in the high school level. So that's what sets me apart, really. My technique and my explosiveness and my what I like to call twitchiness.
I mean, yeah, you definitely got to stay on that grind, keep running. You're not going to get faster if you stop running. Speed, you got to keep that up. We noticed that you were a highly recruited track athlete as well. I mean, you're talking about playing basketball. Can you talk a little bit about the role that those other sports play in your life right now?
Track is such a big thing. Like, people just underrate it so much. Track is such a big thing for football players. If you ever see a football player run, they run like football players. Like, our hands are running sideways. It's not the perfect form. And track gets your form right. And then football players are always running aggressive and hard. Track teaches you how to relax and breathe. So that makes you run faster. So track is such a big part of my life right now. I usually just practice with the track team. I don't really do meets, but I did 2 meets this year, and I got the top 4 runner in PA for my class in 2024. So, yeah, track is the main part. I don't play basketball anymore. I haven't played since, 7th grade, so
that's what I was just
done with.
Yeah, my bad, man. That's what I was just about to ask you, if you still played basketball. And, I mean, I assume you quit basketball because you realized you had a bunch of potential as a football player. Your dad sees the potential in you. When did you really start seeing this potential in yourself? Was it from that first touch when you were 6 years old, or was it a little bit down the line when you were like, oh, like I can make it to college, I can potentially make it to the pros one day?
Okay, so when I was 6 years old, I did that. I didn't really know too much. I was just like, yeah, I'm faster than everybody. I was just happy. But as I got older, I would start to see it. But then I would still question myself, like, is football for me or basketball? Because when I was younger playing both sports, I was like, during basketball season, I was like, I'm a basketball player. I'm not a really football player. And then during football season, I'll be like, oh, I'm a football player. It happens all the time. But then 7th grade, when I stopped playing basketball, it was just because, like, I just wanted to focus on football. Like, I'm just different in football. I'm way better in football than I was in basketball. I was good. I averaged 20 my 7th grade year. But football is just different, man. And I got a different type of dog. And it just shows on the football field. And that's really what it was like, oh, yeah, I'm better than most kids at football. Especially going to these camps. It really showed. And then now, college is looking at me and getting scholarships. It's just crazy as a freshman. So
it's clear that making that transition in 7th grade, you were taking football pretty seriously. Some prospects we interview, they play middle school football, but others, they'll stick to like Pop Warner, AAU. Which route did you take?
7th grade year, I played for a team called Longcrest Lions, a 13U team, unlimited. So I would play around the country against 300 pounds. 7th graders, it was crazy. So yeah, I played Pop Warner, but 8th grade year, I played with Maryland Heat. We were the number 1 team in the nation, unlimited football. And I guess you can call that Pop Warner, but it's a different type of league. And then I went straight to 9th grade and played high school football at varsity as a freshman. Usually kids in this state, they will like play another year Pop Warner because, we still play as 14-year-olds as freshmen. I took the high school route.
A lot of kids that we talk to, we kind of ask them how different was high school from middle school. But I mean, listing, what you were playing for, what teams you were playing on, I want to ask, do you think that playing for those competitive teams helped you and benefited you in your transition to high school?
Yeah, of course. Like I said, Maryland Heat, we're the number 1 team in the country, playing against Cali teams, OG Ducks, and everything. 7th grade year, we were the number 3 team in Longcrest Lions from Philadelphia. So, yeah, playing the top teams in the country and being one of the top teams definitely helps than rather just playing inside your area, because you get to see different type of speeds, different type of abilities from other kids around the country and see what you have to work on. And that really helped me a lot. And to see where you are against the top competition. And when I saw it, I was the best. I was the best of the best, proudly the best. I was like, oh, yeah, I could take football and run with it. So it definitely helps a lot of people. So kids out there, please take my advice and try to play for a team that has the notoriety and that people really look at and pay attention to, because it helps.
Yeah, that's facts. And do you really have a favorite memory from, that middle school age when you're playing on these teams all over the country? Was there a moment where you were like, or made a play where you were like, damn, I can do this?
I'm actually smiling right now because I have the exact play that I want to talk about. So it was 8th grade year in Maryland Heat. It was the first game of the season, August 20th. I remember the date. Had to play the so-called number 1 team in the country from Florida called Miami Gardens Ravens. And it was so much hype around it. And they were going to beat us and everything. Like, it was probably the biggest little league game you would probably ever hear about. We're Maryland Heat. And they came to Maryland. And, man, I was just pumped up that game. Like, I was just so ready. Because it was my time to prove myself, because people really didn't know about me. 3rd quarter, we're up 20-0. And they were supposed to beat us so bad. But then the quarterback drops back in the 3-step from the shotgun. I'm playing off coverage. My wide receiver runs a curl. I know he's not going to beat me deep. So I plant on the ball. The ball's thrown. Pick it off. 60-yard interception for 6. And I think that's the play that really put me on the map and really got me out there from 8th grade. So that's a play I'll always remember, probably my best play.
Dude, and putting yourself on the map that early, you must have been recruited by high schools. What was that process like? Was that a complicated process?
It was a lot of high schools out there, but not really. No. I grew up in the Philadelphia area, but I lived in the county for like 6 years. But I've been playing in the Philadelphia area, and the only school you really want to go to is St. Joe's Prep in PA. It's top 3 ranked team in the country. It's just different, the brotherhood and everything. So since like 5th grade, I knew I wanted to come here, St. Joe's Prep, and now I'm here, and now I'm doing big things. So shout out to St. Joe's Prep, man. The community is amazing.
And do you have a favorite high school game or memory so far?
Oh, definitely state chip game. Definitely state chip game. That's probably the first game I started fully. That game, that's what really like set me apart from other freshmen, because usually freshmen at my school don't start at all. And I started that whole game, and it was the biggest game of the season. And I made a couple plays. So, yeah, that's probably the greatest moment. And we won 60-something to, like, 7. So, it was amazing.
State champs.
Blowout, too. Damn.
Yeah.
Dude, we were, like, our high school won a few state championships in Massachusetts, but all of our state championships were for, like, swimming and like rowing and just all the sports that absolutely no one cared about.
Right.
Golf, we're nasty at golf, dude.
Yeah, don't sleep on those sports. No, they're athletes.
Yeah. No. I respect it. Just no one cares. It's not a football championship.
Right.
So you said you're starting as a freshman cornerback. You're 5'11", 160. We've talked about your speed. Do you know just how fast you are?
At Ohio State camp, I ran a 4.59 non-laser. So I still have speed to work on, but I'm pretty fast.
Yeah.
My 100 time is 11.5, and that's top 4 in PA. But I still have a lot to work on with my speed, I believe.
Dude, I don't even know if I could run a 40 in 11.5 at this point.
We're so out of the game, but we were, studying your film, and we saw not only the speed, but it looks like you got some hands. Can you talk about that? Growing up as a running back, did that help at all?
So, middle school years, like 7th grade, 6th grade, 5th grade, 4th grade, and down, man, I had no hands. I had no hands. Like, we tried receiver for me. I would catch a slant ball, but I never could catch a deep ball, man. It was just sad. I had no hands. So I really was a running back, one-dimensional, just go outside and score. But they just came naturally. And my 8th grade year, I really improved on that. 9th grade year now, I think my hands are at the best shape it's been in my whole life. And I still have more room to work on with my hands for sure. But they're definitely at its best right now. And I don't see me dropping too many picks this year.
Yeah, I feel you with the having no hands and being unable to catch the ball at times. And, you said at first it came naturally to you, and then you said it was improving. It doesn't just come to you, really. Like, can you tell us the process a little bit? Were you just constantly out there catching balls? Like, how did you work on improving your hands?
I definitely is saying it doesn't come naturally, but God got me. Like, God has always, like, put me in right positions and stuff. But I have worked on that. I'm on a jugs at Coach Swift, which is DeAndre Swift's dad. He plays for the Lions. Yeah, he's our strength and conditioning coach, and DeAndre Swift went to my school. So I'm on the jugs at his gym, and yeah, pretty much that's how I got better. And just catching the ball repeatedly after practices with my dad or with my teammates.
DeAndre Swift, a beast. I mean, we're tuned in. We're big college football, NFL
we do know
fans.
Him.
Yeah, that's my guy. He's cool, man.
I didn't know he's from Pennsylvania. That's crazy.
Yeah, he is.
Talk about, matching up against taller wide receivers. You got the hands, you got the speed, but what's your technique? Because you're obviously not going to be the biggest kid out there on the field at all times. So, how do you work through that?
So for tall receivers, usually they'll be kind of fast, but not fast. They can't beat you over top, and they will always give you their chest at the line because they're so tall. They're going to stand up right away. So my technique with them is to shock jam them and then like take a couple steps back and then play their hips, because they're not going to beat you deep. You're more faster and twitchier than them. So get your hands on them at the start, win the 5 yards, and then just mirror the big guy, because he's going to try to possession catch you all game. And if you can just compete for the ball with the possession catch, you'll be good all day, because you're going to be on them because they're not going to beat you. But I guarded a tall receiver like my whole freshman year in practice, Marvin Harrison Jr. He is just different. He's not that typical tall guy. He's a low 4'4" guy, 210 pounds, and has the best hands and the best routes. So he was definitely a challenge guarding, but he really helped me to guard any type of receiver. Shout out to Marv.
Do you have a favorite side of the field to play on? You know, you like playing zone or man more? Can you talk a little bit about that side of the game?
I'm an all-around corner, I'll say, but you got to get your money's worth in man. If you can't play man, you can't play corner, simple. So corner is my strong suit. I like to play that most of the time because it really shows my cover skills and how I can track the ball and how I can stick to a receiver. Man-to-man is my go-to, but I can play little zone too, read the quarterbacks, get a couple picks.
And you said you're pushing more 165 right now. You've been putting in the work. I assume you mean in the weight room. And, you know, when did the training and, you know, really going hard training for football, when did that start for you?
Man, I always like to work hard, but I really had to work really hard this offseason because I know coming to this year, I definitely want to get bigger because I don't want to be getting little Boyd out there. I'm trying to get to 170 before the season. So, yeah, I've really been putting in work in the weight room, and it's showing because my PRs and my maxes in the weight room are definitely getting much better from being in there every day, waking up for 4:30 for 6 a.m. practices, and then after that, we're hitting the weight room with my teammates. So I'm really improving, and I for sure will be at 160 before the season starts. More muscle.
Yeah, I mean, you're also about to be a sophomore. Like the weight, the mass, the muscle, that will come as long as you're, you know, staying consistent in the weight room and hitting it.
Yeah.
How much you lift, bro? Do you got any favorite exercises? You know, bench, squat. What type of reps you putting up? What you working on right now in the gym?
I'm definitely working on like the full body because my coach he just loves working full body. So we do bench, squat, cleans, and everything. I just hit a PR for 315 for a 5 on squat after a whole full workout. So that's definitely my max. And then on bench, I'm at 185 for 3. I definitely can get more. That's after like a full workout too. So.
And how do you keep yourself motivated to stay on this grind every single day in and day out?
Man, it's hard waking up at 4:30 every day to go to practice. It's hard, but this is the lifestyle I chose. I want to go to the NFL. This is what it takes. And I just think about that every time. And I just get up and work, have fun with it, and never let it get to my head. Because it's a lot.
I mean, it's clear you're working hard on and off the field, but another side of football that we really haven't talked about is film. So how much film do you watch right now?
Yeah, I'm watching at least an hour plus a day. I have to, like, my team, I just want to be a leader and show them, like, I'm really working hard so they can see it too. And I have really good teammates like Keenan Nelson, who just committed to South Carolina. I have him with me to watch film and everything. So I watch a lot of film every day and see what I did wrong mostly, and then see what I did right and see what I can work on and see how I can help my teammates and my coaches. So, yeah, I watch a lot of film, and I'm really, like, locked in when I watch it. I don't just watch it. I, like, watch, you know, the things you need to.
You ever watch something on film and, you know, like you're preparing for a game and you're watching something on film and you're like, you notice it and then you see it happen in the game, you see it play out and you capitalize on it?
Yes, that happens all the time because if you watch it on film, it's going to happen in the game. No team is going to switch all their plays for one team unless it's like a state championship or something. So if you watch film, it's like getting the answers on the test. You just have to execute and actually do it. So watching film is definitely slows the game down because you watch it on film, but like, oh, this formation in the game, if I see this, I know it's coming. And then you get in the game, you see it, and you're like, oh, they're about to run this. And then, bam, you jump the route, catch a pick, and go for 6. So it's just, it's definitely a big deal.
It just must be the best feeling in the world when you like see it coming and then you actually make it happen. And
Yes, it definitely is.
And sorry to go back a second here, but I mean, talking again about putting on the weight, the mass. Have you been switching up your diet? Have you been following any sort of diet or food, exercise, anything?
I don't really follow a diet. My mom I just eat whatever she cooks.
Yeah.
And she's cooking a lot of protein for me. So I just make sure I get a lot of carbs and a lot of protein. And I drink my protein shakes so I can gain the weight.
Mom a good cook?
Mom's a great cook.
That's fire.
That's what you like to hear.
No bias.
What are some of your favorite foods maybe that your mom makes, or maybe, outside, treat yourself, eat out? What are you eating?
Man, I definitely can go for some chicken Alfredo any time of the day. Or definitely, like, my mom, all her foods, but I'll say fast food, it'll definitely be Chick-fil-A. And then, like, a nice restaurant, you get dressed up and everything. I'd probably get some chicken Alfredo or some scallops or something fancy.
And, I mean, at this point, we've talked about food, film, training, on and off the field, some of your favorite plays. I mean, that's a lot. So how have you been able to balance football, academics, and everything else going on in your life?
Yeah, it's a hard, definitely at prep where we have, like, one of the best educations in the world and then one of the best football programs in the world. So it's definitely hard, but this is, as I say again, this is the life I chose. So why not go 100%? And if you're doing it, don't just do it to do it. Because if you're not getting nothing out of it, why wake up at 4:30 and go hard for nothing? Like, you know what I mean? So I just take it and run with it and just forget about how hard it is and everything. And make sure I get the right treatment so I'm just straight and good.
Man, you seem motivated, you're a grinder, and, college coaches appear to have noticed that as well. And, this is something to add on to that plate of how busy you are. Can you talk to us a little bit about the college process, the college recruiting process, how that's been for you? We've seen you've gotten a lot of offers, as we've talked about, a lot of very impressive offers.
Thank you. I like to stay really humble with this, but I will say, like, going into this year, I didn't expect any offers. But I knew it was going to come at one point. And, like, February 13th, I got Temple, then I got LSU, then I got Penn State. So the recruiting process has been quick and unexpected, but now I'm getting used to it. I'm knowing the little quirks and all of the stuff that you need to know about recruiting, and my dad is by my side, so I can't mess up. But it's very fun. It's not that annoying now because they can't really call you. We had to call them because I'm an underclassman. So I'm just enjoying it for now until it really gets busy September 1st of my junior year.
All right, well, that's good to see, and we'll keep it short and sweet with the college recruiting process. But can you talk a little bit about that first offer? What was the first time you were really noticed by a college scout? That seems to be a special one that a lot of the athletes we have on like to talk about.
Yeah, that it was just a blessing, man. I knew I had a FaceTime call with my assistant coach, and Temple, Coach Gabe Fonte was set up, and I just didn't know I was going to get offered. I thought he was just going to talk to me because I didn't know anything at the point. I was in Georgia, and I just finished the workout with my trainer, Oliver Davis, and my coach called me on FaceTime. He added the Coach Gabe Fonte from Temple. Man, I got the offer. And it was just a bunch of excitement. I didn't really cry. My dad was by my side, and my uncle and my trainer and his crew. And it was just, I was just hyped. I was outside. I was just yelling and everything. It was just a blessing. And then my trainer, I'm about to leave the facility, and my trainer comes to my window and was like, yeah, I'm going to get LSU on the phone later. And bam, I call LSU on a three-way with my trainer, OD. And I get the offer probably 3 hours later. And then 3 hours after that, Penn State, I get it. So it was just crazy. And I definitely cried after LSU because that's my dream school. So, yeah, man.
Uh-oh.
One of our hosts Big LSU fan. He's been going there now for 4 years, wrapping it up this fall. DeJong, he saw them win a natty with Joey B. If you go to LSU, oh, he'd be hyped. He'd be trying to recruit all the players we got on.
No, that's why he can't come on the interviews, dude. He would just be recruiting everyone the whole time. Go
That's
Tigers. Shut up.
Oh, I love to see it. So, how many offers have you stacked up now?
12 right now.
After 1 year, that's crazy.
And you mentioned, your trainer, your uncle, your dad, lots of friends and family. How have they helped you through this process?
Big. It's big. My dad, my parents, and my 3 siblings, like, they're just like a blessing, man. They're on my side 100%. They'll never do me wrong. So I just appreciate them so much. And I definitely appreciate my trainer, Oliver Davis in Georgia, because he definitely has a plug to a lot of schools and sends my highlights. And then they're like, oh, yeah, I want this kid. Put me on the phone with him. And then I usually get an offer. And then my head coach, Tim Roken, he'll get me on the phone with a coach and say that they've evaluated and they want to offer. So it's just crazy, like, to see everything I ever wanted in my life just happening so fast.
And you were talking a little bit about camps, right? Have you been visiting camps?
I don't really do camps like that. I go to the meaningful ones like Ohio State. When I went to my visit and took pictures, I went to their camp. I did pretty well. The coach Matt Barnes loves me. And yeah, so I did that camp, and that's the only camp I did this summer.
And you mentioned, Ohio State, pretty cool names. I'm a big Ohio State fan myself. My grandfather actually played there back in the day, both ways. You got any other good, memories, a cool campus, favorite visit, favorite camp, whatever it is? Like, what was your favorite part of this entire college experience?
I loved all my visits from Penn State to Ohio State to Temple. I loved all my visits, but I went to Ohio State camp. That was the only camp, so I loved their camp. It was fun and it was a blast.
So are you not allowed to talk to college coaches right now because you're an underclassman?
The rule is they can't communicate to us, but in high school football, man, people find a way to maneuver, and it's definitely not like illegal. It's definitely legal because a bunch of kids get offers, so they can't talk to us or text us. They can only send us a questionnaire with their number in it, and we can call them and we can FaceTime them, and they can answer them, and we can talk to them. So that's how the rules go until junior year, September 1st, junior year. Then they can call you and everything, and blow up your phone and do anything they want.
I got you. So what's like the coolest coach that you've talked to so far?
Man, all of them.
Oh yeah. I know you got to say all.
Very good conversations.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And we've all been through high school at this point, but we were not like top football prospects. You feel you got any spotlight on you or any added pressure just being the athlete that you are?
It's definitely added pressure, and I always had pressure my whole life because people would be like, "Oh, he's get all this, all that," and he's not really like that. So I always had pressures, and I just never let it faze me because when I'm pressured, in my most pressure moments, I do my best. So like, I never really let it get to me. I get nervous a little bit, but that's pretty much it.
I mean, that's totally normal, and at this point, we've talked about handling football, academics, some of the pressures, but what about, the off-the-field interest? Balancing spending time with friends, maybe going out to a party at all? You got a girlfriend, any female interest here or there? What is that like?
Nah, no girlfriends right now. Okay. I'm just cool.
He's got a wife.
With a lot of girls that are my friends.
Yeah.
But yeah,
good bro. They're trouble. They're trouble
right now. But I definitely try to get out and hang with my friends and family a lot. But football is like my whole life, so I'm usually doing that. But besides that, I definitely try to hang out with friends and play the game and try to get out my comfort zone. You know what I'm saying?
And have you ever matched up on the field against any other top college recruits?
Yeah. Let me think. Freshman year, I don't think I really matched up against a top recruit. But in practice, you have Kyle McCord, the quarterback, Ohio State. You have Marvin Harrison Jr., Ohio State. You have Malik Cooper, Temple, runs a 4.3. You have Samir Hagan's Duke. You have Jeremiah Trotter on my side, defense. Clemson, you have Josiah Trotter now, who just dropped top 4, Penn State, South Carolina, Clemson, and Ohio State. So you got Keenan Nelson, my right-hand man, my other corner on the other side, who just committed to South Carolina. There's just a lot of talent at my school, and I appreciate it. And we just go at each other and practice all the time.
And so how does it go? How do you match up against these other top guys? You sticking with them?
So my freshman year, Marvin Harrison and the whole offense, I was kind of young at the start. They would hit me a lot, and then at the end, before they left the college, it was like, oh yeah, he's getting better. He's breaking up passes now and everything, and he's sticking to receivers. So it was hard at first, but once you get to know how your teammates move and everything, then you get better. So I got way better. I'm definitely up there with them now. But Marvin Harrison is the hardest person I've ever had to guard. That man is ridiculous.
I mean, they're making you so much better by going hard on you. If they were taking it easy on you, then you're not improving.
Yeah.
And, we've talked all the positives and all that, but kind of speaking on that, everyone goes through struggles and some tough. We were wondering if you've had any tough moments in your football career, and, how'd you work through them? Because everyone goes through different things. How do you process that?
Yeah, as you say, everybody goes through something. I faced a lot of adversity, but it hasn't been that bad, I would say. But I think it was 7th grade year, or going into 7th grade, I broke my, fifth metatarsal in my foot. And, that was the first big injury I ever had. I don't really get hurt like that. I'm always on the field. But when I broke my foot at a cookout, it was like, wow, I was crying. I was like, am I going to ever play a game? Over-exaggerating. Yeah. And I had to sit out for a whole season, and then I came back playoffs. So I think that's the most adversity I ever faced. I don't think, God has my back. So I didn't really face anything yet. But I know hard times come, and I'm prepared, man.
I mean, football's a contact sport. You're going to catch some nicks and bruises here or there. Can you talk a little bit about that recovery process? What was that like? How did you get back to 100%? And that was the most severe injury, but have you ever faced any other smaller injuries? They often talk about how in the NFL you're playing hurt, so you're often playing banged up. What's that like?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know, football, you're playing banged up all the time. You have a cut or a bruise, or something probably is broke. We play through a lot of stuff. But besides that broken foot, I pulled I forget what it's called, not pelvis. It was something in my hip, and it was a serious injury. That's the first injury I ever had. I forgot to tell y'all, and I broke my foot. But the recovery process is definitely different. I didn't know anything about it because I rarely get hurt. And I had to wear a boot when I broke my foot, and I didn't know that it was going to come out skinnier, and I took it off. I didn't know anything. But yeah, and then I had to build the strength up in physical therapy and then get back to 100%. So it was hard seeing my friends and my teammates play, and I can't play. But it's definitely a challenge that I faced.
And then as we were talking about, injuries are part of the game. But, we see some cornerbacks in the NFL nowadays, not to drop any names, but Marcus Peters. Do you shy away from the contact at all, or are you down to hit some running backs when he's coming outside?
A lot of people will be like, "Oh yeah, he's not that big. He's not coming down." But I just honestly, man, I'm a dog. So I'm throwing my body out there trying to make you fumble and everything. I'm putting my life on the line for my teammates. That's the type of person I am. And I did that state championship game and made him fumble and everything. It was a big hit. Yeah, I just laid football on the line because you never know the last play. So make it great. So I don't shy away from contact.
And so was that hit your most memorable hit, your biggest hit, making the quarterback fumble?
Yeah, biggest hit. I'll say it's my biggest hit because it was my first high school crazy hit so far. So yeah.
And on the flip side, what's the hardest you've ever been hit?
Man, I've been hit so many times. It just comes. You're gonna get got sometime, and I'd definitely say it was probably one of my little league years, and I was running to the sideline to go score, and I got 30 yards. Then the safety just came down, boom, flattened me on the sideline. And when I got hit, I flew to the sideline, the other team's sideline, and there was a chair sitting there, and I flattened the chair, and it was embarrassing, but it was funny at the same time.
Damn, that's crazy. I mean, every prospect has a wild story about getting hit, hitting someone. We love to talk about it. The other thing in football, you're playing corner, defending some elite wide receivers. Has a wide receiver ever broken your ankles? Do you have any like crazy memories, funny stories like that?
Yeah, it happens, man. Not this year, but Little League years. I'll definitely say it happened. It really happens in the game to me, but like training, this dude, he gave me like a little 1-2 at the line, and I wasn't really ready for it because I was playing soft coverage, and then he 1-2, and he went to the right side to outside release, and I was like kind of twisting my ankle, and I stumbled.
Dude, it happens to the best of the cornerbacks. And speaking of the best of the cornerbacks, do you have a favorite NFL player? Any favorite defensive back in the league?
Yes, I really love Jalen Ramsey's game. But my best is my guy J.C. Horn. Not just because like I know him and we talk a lot. It's like he has a different type of mindset when it comes to football, and he just has like one of the greatest techniques I've ever seen training with him. But he hasn't played a game yet. But he's gonna prove everybody that he should have been, that he was the number one corner in this class, and that he got drafted there for a reason.
Yeah, he's a baller.
He's
I mean,
nasty.
Talk about spending time with other NFL pro players. That's ridiculous. Can you talk a little bit about your relationship with J.C. Horn or any other NFL players or, top college prospects that you talk with,
It's a lot. Tyke Smith from Georgia. Like, he's from Philly, so he's a close friend of mine. And I forgot to tell you about Stephon Gilmore. That's another guy. I'm really have a close relationship with him. I text him and everything. It was just crazy to see that he's watching me. He's in the NFL trying to work and everything. And then there's a lot of verified football players that follow me and I text. It's a lot, but off the head, I say J.C. Horn, Stephon Gilmore, Tyke Smith at Georgia.
We know Stephon Gilmore real well. I'm hoping Bill pays him, but we're from Boston, big Patriots fan. Lockdown corner, Stephon Gilmore, Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, you got to get us that number, dude.
That's my guy, man.
Dude, he's a beast. We love Gilmore.
Yeah, absolutely lockdown Gilly. So, speaking of players, what's your favorite NFL team?
I don't have a favorite team. I admire I have favorite players that I admire, and I hope that they win. But I don't have a team.
All right. Yeah, you don't have a favorite team. So, do you have a favorite team? Well, I guess I can't ask that question yet. We have a host who plays some Madden, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he plays some Madden with some NFL players. And so, we see a lot of the NFL players playing. I mean, hell, live streaming. And, a lot of the players that we've interviewed play it. So, do you play any Madden? You play any other video games, anything like that?
I'm a Madden fanatic.
All right, good.
If I don't have nothing to do, I'm playing Madden. Simple. Playing Madden or going out with friends, but playing Madden, like, I'm competitive at it. I'm really good at it. I play, like, top players in Madden, so, like, I'm really try hard at it, and I'm really good. Trust me.
So there's no favorite NFL team, but is there a favorite team to play as in Madden?
Oh, it has to be Seahawks and Buffalo Bills because they have the full package, offense and defense.
Bro, give me the Ravens.
Let Russ cook.
Yeah, Schwallie he's a big Russ guy.
Ravens
are solid.
And so we've talked about a lot of things relating to football, but what are your, off the field interests? You got anything where you get away? Maybe it's the beach, maybe it's nature. We've heard a lot of different things on here. But, not related to sports. Like, what are you into? Maybe it is just basketball.
Maybe it's just maybe all you do is basketball.
Clearly not if you're a top football prospect, though.
What do you do?
My life is 100% football, but I don't I go out with my friends. Like, I go to pool parties and stuff and all of that, but I guess you could say, like, I like hanging out with people. And I love football. I love my family. I love God. I love games. And I love girls. Like,
That's all a man needs.
That was a money quote right there. I mean, speaking of other things off the field, what type of music you listen to? We've heard a lot of rap artists mentioned on the podcast. Maybe it's a different genre, but what are you bumping?
Oh, Little Baby, Little Dirk, and NBA Youngboy.
Free NBA Youngboy.
Yes, sir.
Is it the same like workout music and chill music, or do you switch it up when you're in the gym?
Oh, it's workout, it's everything. NBA Youngboy, Little Baby, and Little Dirk.
I mean, Lil Baby and Lil Durk just got that collab too, so that's pretty nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much for joining us. You know, we really appreciate it. You've given us a lot of time. It's clear you're a stand-up guy, very humble, athlete on the field for sure, and honestly, one of my favorite interviews. It's just been great talking to you. So is there anyone else you really want to shout out before we wrap this up?
Shout out my mom, shout out my dad, shout out Halo, Aris, Amari, my siblings, shout out my dog Mace, shout out my head coach Tim Broken, shout out assistant coach Coach Seb, shout out my DB coach Coach Hodge and Coach Ty, shout out Coach Ryan, receivers coach, shout out St. Just Prep community, shout out football in general, and man, shout out to you guys. I appreciate y'all.
Shout out life, bro.
Shout out June, who's walking around upstairs on crutches.
Speaking of siblings, my little sister, and broken feet, dude. My little sister just broke her foot. So if there's any stomping going on in the background, that's my little sister on crutches upstairs.
Dang.
Apologies.
Well, Emilio, thank you so much for joining us. Hangtime Headlines, as always, like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Spotify, rate, review, Apple Podcasts. We really appreciate it, bro. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Yeah, dude, this was absolutely fantastic. Thank you guys for listening.
We're out. Peace.
Adios.
All right.
Ballin' crazy with the hang time.